Does anybody know how to make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie in it. Welcome back to the ... podcast. Today, my guest is one Kyle Gott. If you're affiliated with the Air Force, you're probably familiar with Kyle's name, as he is kind of the face of the Air Force on YouTube. But also, him and his wife have a family vlog channel where they document what's going on in their life. And Kyle's just kind of an expert in the whole social media world. Definitely got to sit down with him and kind of talk about that, like the power of that tool, and as well as his involvement with what he was able to do with YouTube while he was in the Air Force, and now that he's out of the Air Force, pursuing his career with social media. So really cool opportunity. Kyle's a great guy, seriously genuine, very authentic. He's very intent on helping people and sharing information. So you're about to get learnt by Kyle Gott. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kyle Gott. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Not too bad. Enjoying the weather here in Vegas.
Is it getting hot now?
Not really. We've actually had some very mild weather for May. So we're looking at like 70s, 80s. It's been perfect.
Oh, that is perfect. I remember the first time I went to Nevada. It wasn't Vegas the first time I went. I was in Laughlin, and I was with my grandparents in their motorhome, and we got out of the motorhome. It's like we had it freezing cold in there with air conditioning and whatever. We got out, and I felt like my contacts at the time had like glued to my eyeball because it was like 126 degrees or something like that. Obviously dry heat, but yeah, it was torture. So I know it gets pretty warm there.
Yeah. During the summer, it can definitely get super dry and hot. If you step out in the sun, it's a wild animal. But if you're in the shade, it's not so bad. But the sun is ruthless here. Yeah,
it's crazy. And so you and your wife, McKenna, you guys just got back from like a 6-month road trip. So you probably saw weather across the board, right?
Yep, blizzards in Chicago, the summer in Vegas, fall in like Colorado. Yeah, we saw all 4 seasons in a short amount of time.
And you guys stopped off and saw my wife and kids, but I think you got there before the crazy Louisiana humidity hit.
Yes. Yeah, thankfully. We were passing through. It was right towards the end of our trip because we actually cut our 6-month road trip short by 1 month. So we flew. We didn't fly technically. We were flying across the southern coast areas. So yeah, we drove through all the southern states super fast. But yeah, when we stopped in Louisiana, and we saw the kids and Lacey and oh my gosh, it was so funny because Gibson refused to wear a Golden Knights jersey because he didn't want to make you mad. He refused. He got mad that I had even suggested that he wear it, and then when I asked him again, he was like, "I'm not doing it."
That is awesome.
And he said he didn't want to make you mad, but Presley took a picture with it, so I actually think I have to send that to you because I don't think I have yet.
Please do. That's awesome.
I was trying to get them both to work, so we both had jerseys, but Gibson refused. He's like, "I'm not doing it. I don't want my dad to be mad."
That is hilarious.
So apparently you guys are like Blackhawks fans or something. So I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, no. I'm sorry that I'm sorry for what you're going through. I mean, nobody really won this season.
Yeah,
we're both losers, but
yeah, it was a brutal season for a lot of people.
But I grew up in Chicago, and I think I being a Blackhawks fan was just genetically downloaded. I think it was like my sixth birthday. That was like my birthday present. My dad took me and like 2 of my friends to a Blackhawks game at the old stadium, and it was just, man, incredible stuff. So.
The only thing that really matters is, are you a Cubs fan?
So Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'd definitely Cubs over Sox any day of the week.
right,
Primarily because the neighborhood is better to go to Wrigley than it is to go to Comiskey. But yeah, definitely Cubbies for sure.
Well, I grew up in Iowa, so we don't have pro sports. So pretty much everybody defaults to either Cardinals or Cubs, and I grew up in a Cubs household. So
Perfect. Cubs win. So hey, let's knock out some icebreakers. I think. Some people that are going to listen to this, they may be familiar with the Kyle Gott name. Others may not. So let's paint this picture of who you are and give a little sneak peek of who you are. Favorite place you've ever been?
Ooh, Chiang Mai, Thailand, for sure.
Yes.
Thailand is, it's unreal. I love it.
I agree.
You rent a scooter for like $3 for the day and just drive wherever you want and just, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
You got any plans of going back anytime soon?
Not anytime soon, but for sure going back. Like, that's one of the places that we would want to go for like a month-long vacation. It was incredible.
Yeah, I second that. Everybody out there, go to Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's 10 times better than even we're letting on right now. It's incredible.
We had friends that had gone and talked it up like it was the coolest thing ever, and then we went and we were like, this was even better than we thought.
Yeah. Why did they undersell it?
Yeah, right. No, they tried to oversell it, and it still wasn't enough. Like being there, it was, oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah, we had a great time when we went too. So, do aliens exist? Your opinion?
Man, that's really, really tough. I want to I'm so conflicted on that one. I want to say no.
Okay.
But it would not entirely surprise me if there was.
Like if it turned out that you were wrong.
Yeah. I'd be like,
okay.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
I'm starting to realize there's more to that question than just do aliens exist.
Yeah.
Some of my more recent guests that I've had on, they start kind of drilling down on that question a little bit. Like it's not as easy as...
That's a rabbit hole. You almost don't want to ask that on a podcast.
Right, because it goes like somebody goes, well, what do you mean? I mean, are you talking like my buddy Adam that I had on? I think he was like my last guest or 2 guests ago or something like that. He said he's like, oh, well, are you talking like intelligent life or like microbial beings or like what are you talking? I was like, well, okay, yeah. I guess we've already figured out that there are like single-celled organisms on Mars. So if there's a single-celled organism, that means there's the potential for those to multiply and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We could go down, like you said, that's a rabbit hole we could go down forever. So
I think that will be a rabbit hole that humanity goes down for forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't help but wonder what's on the other side of the other side, So we'll keep it simple. Celebrity that you most identify with or that you'd like to hang out with for a day.
Oh man, this is terrible because I'm not huge on the whole celebrity field of people.
So just to give you an idea, I've literally had people mention authors. I've had people say, somebody that was in their life already. That doesn't necessarily have to be like a total like famous person or anything like that. It's just somebody that you identify with, and you'd appreciate the time to spend with them.
You know what the hard thing is my brain works like at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure I had this conversation with McKenna like a week ago, and now I can't even remember who I said. But I was like, man, I would love to hang out with so-and-so for like a day. I'll just say something random like Mr. Beast, just because like, just he's so random and crazy, and he's been like so successful, but he's a YouTuber. He does like, yeah, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I don't know, just because it'd be like, he seems so carefree and everything, but he's still smart and strategic. Like, he set the world record for the longest Uber ride. They went from like North Carolina to California. It was straight, like 30 some hours straight. They gave the dude like $10,000 to do it.
Oh wow, they'd have to.
It was going to be like $1,800, but he like gave him $10,000.
Really?
Yeah. And so he just does crazy stuff like that. But he like everything he does, he like the people that are a part of it get like a ton of money or like something from it. So he like basically his whole goal is to make viral videos, but give all that money that he gets from the sponsorship to whoever he like is making the video with.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's really cool.
That is really cool. I'll have to check him out, Mr. Beast. Okay, last icebreaker question. The best binge watch of your life.
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember the name of it. There was a show, I used to watch it before I joined the Air Force. I think I watched like season 1 in one whole day. And it was how to survive, like if society was like wiped out and there was only a few people that survived, how you would like come together. So they throw these random people together in like this abandoned like industrial park area. So it's like tons of acres of just like abandoned stuff, like buildings and vehicles. And so they get dropped off there and they have to survive. And so like the whole show is like, it's like a reality TV show. So I think some of it's like scripted, but it's basically like showing how they jerry rig a bunch of vehicles so they can drive. And then they take solar panels from like some of the buildings and they install those. And basically they created like a shower and like a fridge and they like recreate all this stuff, but they had like all these people that were like different jobs and how they used all their skills to like rebuild a colony.
And they were like a collective MacGyver of sorts.
Yeah, so it was like 10 or 15 people that were a part of a group. And then like randomly, like throughout the show, like every few like days in the show or whatever, or weeks, they would get attacked. It was kind of like Survivor, but like it was like Survivor in modern times. Like they weren't out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And so it was kind of cool. But they're like, it wasn't like who can survive the longest. It was like, how can you guys survive long term the longest? So like they would have like people come and like raid their like place at night when they'd be sleeping. So like the first week they were there, like, so then they had to put up a security, like the people had to lose sleep every night to make sure that they were watching their facility. And
that's awesome. That actually sounds really good. You don't remember what it was called though?
It was called, But I watched it back in 2012 and I was just fascinated by it because I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah. Like every kid, especially every boy in the world, you know, wants to embrace their inner MacGyver. So
they took like some bus and made it into this like huge D-Day machine thing that had like this big like ram guard on the front and all this like cage on it because they like learned how to like, one of the guys was like a mechanic anyway. So like when he found like welding equipment in one of the buildings, they like got it to work. And so then he was like welding stuff. I'm like, this is so cool. Like they just, everyone like brought something to the table and they all like collectively worked together as a community. It was awesome.
That is really cool.
But then it showed like they would also get in arguments and stuff. And like when people would get mad, they would use like all the hot water from the shower because it was rainwater that they would use. And then like people would get mad at each other and stuff. And it was how society works, but
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, it was like a little examination or a case study. That sounds really good. If you remember the name, shoot me the name one day and I'll try to find it.
Yeah, you could throw it in the show notes or something.
Yeah. So the next one, I guess it kind of classifies as an icebreaker. So give me your life story in 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Well, my name is Kyle Gott. I was born on May 30th, 1991 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I did not...
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I turned 28 yesterday, so I'm getting to be an old man.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know, right? So then I lived in Cedar Rapids, Iowa until I was the age of 21, and that is when I joined the Air Force. And that was my ticket out of home. Because if I didn't join, I probably still would have been there. So yeah. Actually, in 2010, I graduated from high school, went to college. And my first year of college, I came up with this brilliant idea to buy a bus with friends and drop out of college and travel to the United States for a year. The two friends that were on board with me, the more and more I researched and the more that I was serious about it, the less they were serious about it. So it ended up turning into they both bailed, and I was like, well, I'm going to travel regardless, so I'm joining the Air Force. So I dropped out of college regardless and joined the Air Force at 21. It was back in 2013 is when I left for basic training. And so then I've been in the Air Force, or was in the Air Force. I just recently got out, actually. So 6 years go by. I was stationed in Japan for 3 years. I was stationed in Las Vegas for 3 years. And I was aircraft structural maintenance. So I worked on F-15s in Okinawa, Japan. That's actually where I met Corey because we were all stationed in Okinawa together. And me and my wife had done YouTube together, so I actually got married when I was in Japan as well. I bounced all over the place in this 3-minute segment. People are going to be so confused.
No, I think you got a good lineage going here.
So
you're good.
yeah, I actually, my wife met me from YouTube because I had a YouTube channel documenting my Air Force journey. She wanted to join the Air Force, found my channel right as soon as I joined, and then we started talking. Then when I moved to Japan, we got married. We started a channel together. Then we met the Lavellis, and we started hanging out there. And then we went to Nellis, and that was in 2016. We bought a home here. We fell in love with this city from the first day that we arrived. And we've been here it's going to be going on 3 years, and we absolutely love it. But as soon as I got out of the Air Force in October of 2018, we finally went on that road trip that I had designed in 2010.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that road trip that I designed, we came up with another one. I didn't intentionally design it almost identically, but it ended up being almost identical. So we spent we spent Thanksgiving in Iowa with my family. We spent Christmas in Ohio with McKenna's family. And then we spent New Year's in New York. Then we drove down to Florida and then drove back across the southern states to Las Vegas, where we call home. And we still own our home here, so that's where we're back. McKenna has a full-time job, and now I do full-time YouTube and podcasts and my blog. I just work from home full-time.
That's awesome. So, I mean, yeah, let's hit on that first and foremost. So you obviously, the whole video thing was kind of a passion for you. You got plugged in and like kind of pioneered some of the ideas, at least within your community, as far as social media and YouTube and things like that. You guys, like, together, between you and your wife and yourself and her individually, you guys have like a handful of YouTube accounts hitting a couple different categories. I looked it up yesterday. Combined, you guys have like 250,000 subscribers and over 47 million plays. Like, that's a big deal, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's a lot, man. Congratulations on hitting that milestone, because it's no joke. It's not an easy thing by any means. So what was it that keyed you off to, like, hey, I'm gonna start uploading these types of videos to social media?
So that'll be like another little 3-minute spiel right there. So back in like 2004, my brother was at college. My older brother was in college. I would have been in like 6th grade or 5th grade. And he bought a new camera and came home and was like, hey, if you want this camera and can get it to work because it's not working, you can use it. So it turns out, like, where the battery went, one of the little metal springs had been like pushed down. So when you put a battery in, it wouldn't connect. So I just like popped a screwdriver in there, popped the little metal piece back up, and it worked. And then I started making videos from there in 2004, and it very quickly became an obsession to just record anything and everything for no reason. Yeah. So, yeah, I started doing that in 2004. 2007 rolled around, and YouTube was a thing. And so that's why actually when I got on YouTube, I just would post random stuff with my friends, whatever we would do. Whatever I was thinking. I was like, YouTube was still pretty new, so it was like all the really like janky YouTube videos. There was no like professional YouTubers. It was you just walk around with a cheap camera and record something funny. So I was always trying to make like viral stuff, which looking back on it now, I know why it never went viral, because it was never funny. But as like, a 7th or 8th grader, thinking you're making something funny, but to a majority of people, it was just like, this is boring. Yeah. So it was more just like inside joke stuff with friends or whatever. There was like inside videos, I guess, with friends where we thought it was funny, but no one else would. When I joined the Air Force right before that, I created the YouTube channel that I currently have with like 160-some thousand subscribers. It was originally called Joel the Ripper.
Joel the Ripper?
Yeah. And so actually, if you type it in, it's like Joel, like JOELTH3 Ripper, like RIPPER. If you actually do youtube.com/Joel the Ripper, it goes to my Kyle Got YouTube channel. Okay. And so that channel was originally created because me and a buddy were like, dude, let's make some like stupid rap videos back and forth to each other. So that was my rap name. That like they just like one day they're like, dude, you should be Joel the Ripper, like for no reason. I was like, I'm gonna create a YouTube channel named that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I also have a YouTube channel called Chode of the Year. So and this was back in like 2008 or 9, and I would just create all sorts of stupid stuff. So
it's gotten you to like to a point. I mean, even all these little like, you know, joke channels, you found your way to taking it a little bit more seriously. And for the most part, I would say you are the face of the Air Force on YouTube. I literally, like, I run into people all the time. Like, there was actually a guy that I had on here, and I was like, oh, so where were you stationed before you were stationed here? And he said, oh, I was at Nellis. And I was like, oh, where'd you work? And he's like, I worked on the HH-60s. I was like, do you know Kyle Gott? He goes, I sure do. I mean, and he didn't even have to work with you to know you. You know, like there's, you know, I joke around that I was like, you know, all these kids that are joining, it's highly likely, you know, they're not kids, but these individuals that come in as their first enlistment, it's highly likely that they are one of the 47 million plays, if not more, that have watched your videos because of the heads up that you give them, you know, just the corporate knowledge of like, hey, what's life in the Air Force like? Hey, don't do this, you know, like, because everybody is going to investigate where they're heading, right? Yeah, they're curious. They want to know.
The most interesting thing is I can guarantee you that 100% of airmen that show up to their first base have seen my face. You know how?
Yeah. How's that?
Because literally every week I get people that say that during Airman's Week at basic training, they show at least one of my videos.
Really?
Yeah. And they've been doing that for like 2 years now. So there was not a single airman that shows up to their first base that has not seen my face.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to think about.
Well, it is. It definitely is. I mean, in a weird way, I'm surprised that, and maybe we'll find out.
And they never even reached out to me to tell me that or anything. It was airmen that would come in that were like, dude, I watched your videos like at Airman's Week. They showed us one.
So I kind of have it as a note to talk about a little bit later, but I guess we can segue into that. Like, you have a lot of videos obviously helping people, you know what to expect and how to be successful while they're in the Air Force. But you also have some where you're very vocal about your frustrations about your time in and the fact that you decided to get out for a reason and whatnot.
Yeah.
And some of those reasons are that your presence on social media wasn't necessarily celebrated.
Oh, definitely.
But it's funny. Like, I would say that maybe at a local level, you know, people didn't want to associate themselves with you because of that. But maybe at a strategic level, like at a bigger picture level, did you ever make any effort to contact like higher levels of the military, or, you know, any kind of conversations like that ever take place to talk about the value added for the things that you were doing?
Nope. And the reason for that is because I was already like looked at kind of poorly in like the local sphere. And so trying to take things to a higher level and like basically step over my supervision and my local supervision to try to talk to like big Air Force would be like, I was just like, yeah, that's not worth it, because I didn't want to do that and then have people around me know that I was doing that and then like not like me even more. So it's just like, I'm not even going to bother. So yeah. I was just focused on, you know, doing my time and getting out. And so actually now, like, that's actually one of my biggest goals is to be a independent contractor for the Air Force and travel and do YouTube videos.
Yeah, I was going to say, that almost sounds like a job right there. You know, it's especially like, with your credentials.
Yeah, and like you had said, like, I've made videos since getting out of like the things I did not like. And I don't hope that people think that I'm just like bashing the Air Force and be like, the Air Force sucks. It's like, no, I just want people to know that like when they join, to not have their expectations set so high that as soon as they join their first year, they hate it. I want people to, my goal is to not make people hate the Air Force. My goal is to hopefully, one, make the Air Force see things that they need to fix so they can fix them. But two, also send in a new generation of airmen that are wanting to fix those issues. So 10, 15 years from now, when those people are in charge, it's been instilled in their head to fix some of the stupid stuff. And so that's kind of my goal is like, I don't believe that you can fix a problem by ignoring it. And so it's like, yes, some people might not like that I acknowledge some issues that are very present in the Air Force, but it's like that is the only way that you can resolve a problem is by first addressing it. And so I don't really
from the inside out, right?
Yeah, I don't really shy away from like the truth. So, and I know not that's why I try to say in a lot of my videos too, like everybody's experience is going to be different. So I'm like, this was my experience. It doesn't mean yours is going to be just like this. There's people that have had worse. There's people that have had better. And so there's always going to be downsides. And that's kind of what I want people to understand is the way that YouTube or the way that Air Force marketing so far has worked is like, it's the greatest branch in the world. Like in the military, it's incredible. You're going to do all these amazing things. And in reality, you join and you're like, yeah, you might do like 1/10 of what they say, but then you're dealing with 9/10 of what they never said and you don't like it. So my thing is yeah, let me kind of share what they would like about it, but I'm also going to share the things that they're not going to like about it. So when they join, they're excited when they get what they wanted, but they're not let down when the other things happen that they don't like. After I shoot like the next few like videos that I have about like bad topics, I want to focus more on like the good things, but since I wasn't able to talk about any of the bad stuff while I was in, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it now, and then I can move on from that. So,
right.
But yeah, that's my like long-term goal is the military was not for me, at least in like the way the work ethic and everything is right now. But I think that could definitely change in the future, and that's something that I want to kind of help contribute to. And you had even said earlier, like I kind of pioneered the way for like video in this like niche in a way, and I was one of the first. I was the first military informational YouTuber to post over 100 videos in a row. Like that was, and so I was in a territory that was brand new. So that's one of the reasons why I was kind of frowned upon is because the military, for one, never really looked at social media like a good thing other than like Air Force recruiting. But like I wasn't a recruiter and I was using social media. So it's kind of weird for the Air Force. So I understand like why I had a lot of pushback, but I've thankfully heard that a lot of people that have followed in my footsteps to do the same thing after me have actually gotten a lot of praise and a lot of appreciation from their chain of command. So if anything, it was like I was kind of a sacrifice to kind of lead the way for like a change in, hey, if there's people in the military that want to spend their time making information for other people, they just made public affairs job easier, and we should encourage that.
Right.
Because then public affairs can focus on more important things.
If anything, I think it's kind of the military being kind of like a slow adapter to how the world is changing. Like technology is crazy. How fast it's all come. I'm 37 years old, but I remember like my dad being like he was ahead of his time because he had a cell phone. Like that sounds crazy, but I remember being a kid and my dad having, the big gigantic gray brick Zach Morris phone, and like we were living large because we had that. No, because nobody else had that capability.
Dude, you know what's crazy is I had a friend where their family had a phone in their van, but it was like the old school ones. It was like attached to your van, like it was like in the center console and you pick it up. But they were a very wealthy family. But I was in like elementary school. And I remember just being like, that's insane. Because, like, nobody had cell phones then.
But technology has come so far, so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I give that example about, we had something that other people didn't have. We weren't a big deal by any means, but we had something that most people didn't have. And now my 5-year-old son has a freaking supercomputer, iPad, like comparatively speaking, and you think about all this and you're like, man, like it has really, really taken off.
It's only exponential from there because imagine like, how understanding you are of technology. Imagine if you had a 20-year jump start on the knowledge that you have right now with technology. That's what your son is getting, is like he's going to adapt to technology 100 times faster than you ever could have imagined.
Way faster.
So by the time he reaches your age, it'll be insane because he's been using, computer with like applications and all this stuff since he was 5. And you didn't even know what an app was until you were like in your teens or 20s.
Well, I heard somebody say one time that there's a really weird generation out there, and I happen to be part of it. I think it's people that are born between the years of 76 and I think they said 86 or 1976 and 1986. There's this weird window there, and that happens to be myself, my wife, my sister. All three of us are from this time frame, where we weren't born into the world with these technologies being in place.
Yeah.
We were born, we lived life, we know what life is like without them.
Yeah.
And that's a very different thing. So you got to think, like, there's a generation of people, bringing it back to the military, there's a generation of people still in the military like myself. Like we don't know where that technology, we know what life was like without it. So
well, the people that are running the show right now, they didn't have that technology until they had joined in their 20s.
Or until they were probably vested and they were in, when you really think back, like I'm talking, 20 years, 15 years ago, the technology really started to go crazy and boom. So, I mean, now those people have, they're high ranking and they're making a lot of decisions and they're really sharp and they're experienced and stuff like that. But it's almost like there's a little bit of a missing piece there that they got, like, if they're trying to figure out how to tap into the young mind, I feel like this is the direction things are going. So I think your idea of being involved in, at a higher level, as like a consultant to utilize social media within the military is brilliant. I think there's going to be a time that it's going to come where, those kids that are joining right now that are getting to see your face on YouTube are going to be in a position where they're going to look back at, they're like, well, when I joined, there was this guy and he made these videos, and if it weren't for him, like, I probably wouldn't have joined, or I would have joined and had a very different experience, but I came in with realistic expectations.
And I know I've literally had people message me and be like, I had actually gotten paperwork back in like 2015 and 2016 for like 2 videos I had posted about like not liking the Air Force at the like the things that stress me out about the Air Force. And I, no joke, had people message me like when I got out of the Air Force last year, and even right before I got out, I've had people message me and tell me that they appreciated the fact that I had posted those videos back then because they joined after seeing those. So they knew that there was going to be crappy parts. And they were like, it has not, like, if I didn't know about that stuff, it would have made me mad. But they were like, I came in expecting it. And when it happened to me, I couldn't be mad because I already knew what I was getting myself into. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's the coolest thing to ever hear from somebody is like, you basically made me not give up on the Air Force because something bad happened because you had already told me that this would happen. And I'm like, okay, that's a good thing because you get a lot of people that think it's all like perfect because like the way the commercials display it, but then you join and it's like, this is nothing like the commercials.
Well, it's like you watch like a TV commercial for Disney World or something like that. They only show the family having the greatest time of their life, smiling and hugging on the characters and eating all these beautiful foods. They don't show you the fact that everybody's going to go home sunburnt because it's hot in Florida. They don't show you the kid that, spilled his drink in the middle of Main Street and he's crying and he's sad.
And then the kid that's running away screaming from all the characters. And
or the 2.5 hour wait to go on a ride that lasts 2 minutes. They don't show that. They're trying to sell you this. They're trying to sell you Fantasyland, right? Yeah. And I think that's the best part about YouTube is that you can go out there and you can fully investigate eyewitness experiences of things that are going on in the world. Like I heard a saying a couple months ago that I thought was really brilliant was, people only search out truth until they find the truth they're looking for. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if somebody just wants to know what a day in the life of an airman going to basic training is, they can stop right there. Yeah. But if something sparks their interest to say, oh, well, I wonder what it's like to get out of the Air Force. And you've answered all those questions.
This is totally off topic and might like throw like some people totally off. About what you just said, though, is like people will like stop searching for truth when they find the truth they're looking for. Yeah. And so with our YouTube channel, we have a vlog channel, me and my wife, with like 70-some thousand subscribers. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but McKenna had cheated on me before our road trip.
Okay. And
I found out on the road trip. So we decided, instead of continuing a fantasy like vlog where it's like, hey, like everything's like fine. As soon as we found out everything was like not fine, you know, like once I found out what was going on, we decided like we're going to be open and transparent about it, and then we're going to move forward. And we actually got a lot of backlash like right away, because people are like, you don't need to talk about this. Nobody wants to hear this, all this stuff. But when we opened up to friends and family, not with YouTube, no joke, 50% of the people that we reached out to let know, like all of our friends, all of our family, we weren't hiding it from anyone. Like 50% came back and either said they've been through it, they've done it, or they know somebody that has done it or been through it. And
yeah,
I was
absolutely,
like,
100%.
Holy smokes, like this is way more common than you think. So then when we opened up on YouTube, we had like, it was like 90% of like the people are like, you don't need to talk about this. This isn't that common. Like, because we talked about it and we were like, this is actually common. And we had people that were like, it's not common. Why would you say that? And it's like, it's not common because people don't talk about it. But like you were saying is people will only like that kid. It's a double-edged sword about like people stop looking for the truth when they find the truth they're looking for. Is if people don't want to hear that, they're going to look for things that make it seem that way. And so people were like, you should have just kept vlogging like everything was fine. And I'm like, well, that's not normal for us. Like
then we're acting.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I said I'm not running a TV show. Like we're documenting our life because we want to, and if bad things happen, well, that's part of our life. You know, I'm not going to start scripting out our day just because we want to continue a TV show. I was like, to us, it's like if our vlog channel goes away, it goes away. But, or, you know, people want to stop watching. But like for us, it's like we do it for us, not for everyone else necessarily. But we were sharing our story because we've realized how common it is. And it's sad. And so we wanted to talk about it and hopefully help people. But a lot of people were kind of offended because they want to believe that every YouTube couple is like perfect. And you're like, not really. So everybody has their problems. And that's what we've been like dealing with. But people will search for what they want, which is the good thing about me with the Air Force stuff is the only people I get watching my videos are people that are looking for that information.
Yeah.
And so it's perfect because I was like the first one to do it. I have the largest channel, the largest following for Air Force information. So if people are searching for like, what is basic training like? My video, like, and I've been truthful and honest. So like my videos, I'm glad they're finding my videos.
Well, you're also very studied on it. I remember, you know, like the first time
I
hung out. Right. I remember the first time I hung out with you, I was shocked because you had only been in like 2.5 or 3 years, but you were sitting there like referencing some big Air Force issues and, you know, and AFIs and the way things work. And I'm like, man, you know, you're like ahead of your time as far as what you know rules about.
I don't like just making decisions and not knowing it'd be like going to court, but not knowing the laws.
Right.
It's like, that's just stupid. Why would you try to win a court case just by stating your own opinion? And it's like your opinion still weighs a little bit, but like the laws are what matter the most.
Exactly.
And so it's like I can have my opinion on something, but I also need to be able to back it up with AFIs or with with Air Force rules or DOD rules, like anything that was there. And that's like for me, it was like, and I kind of had to do it because I got so much backlash for making videos that I was like, I had to be able to defend myself.
Yeah.
Legally.
I was just going to say that.
And so that's why I started to learn a lot, because people are like, what makes you think you can do this? So I had to read up on all these rules of why I could do it, why I wasn't in the wrong, why I can't get in trouble. And like, it was like, I just started to be like, all right, well, anytime I have a question, I'm just going to find the answer. And so it didn't make me shy away from the rules. It made me like dig into them more. And that's why I started sharing with people on my YouTube channel was like, here's the rules and here's where it states this. And I think it's important that people know the rules, though, because it's like that's the only way to survive.
Yeah, you're joining something that has rules, and I mean that's not just the military. You know, like that's anybody out there. You know, like I'm working on my master's degree right now, and we just did a case study, and one of the things was this case study, this somebody got hurt, and then another guy that was part of the situation went, and he was a whistleblower to social media, or on social media. He got on and told everything. And that put the company in a bad position, because now you have somebody out there just spewing their emotion on something rather than stating facts. Like things like that need to be protected. So I guess you're kind of hinting at it, but like, what's the hardest part about, not so much like your social media while you were in the Air Force, but just being a content creator, and an influencer or whatever? What's the most difficult part as far as like the sustainability of that?
Burnout for sure. So like, I've been doing this I've been making videos since 2004, and I have gotten burnout a few times, but so it's like hard because like you got to learn the balance of your life,
right?
And it's like the hard thing is it's just like make more. So now I try to focus on, like, this is one of the reasons why, like, I'm doing Air Force job interviews, but I'm not doing the interviews myself. I'm making a video that informs people how to shoot their own interviews, and then they send me the video. And I'm trying to learn how to not stretch myself so thin, but put out more content. And I've even hired a video editor recently that edits a few videos for me to take off like some of that stress of like piling up work. So I edit some of my videos still, but then I have another guy that edits for me. And so, I mean, like years ago, I never could have afforded that or been able to do that. But it's like, as it's grown, but definitely like the burnout of people. A lot of people think it's like, well, if I make some like good content, I'll blow up and then I'll be rich and I don't have to do anything. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like if you want to treat YouTube like something to make an income off of, you got to treat it like a job. And you can't just join a company and be the CEO the next day and make like $1 million a year. Like, you might have to work for that company for 10, 15, 20 years. And so YouTube's the same way.
How much bigger would your social media presence need to be for it to be like a no kidding, like thriving, sustainable, source of income that, could keep you and your family supported? Like,
without us like fully working full time on it?
Right.
750,000 subscribers probably.
That's kind of like the number you think?
Yeah, like 500 to 750,000. And that would be like, for it to be sustainable, like longer term, like 5 to 10 years, where we could like really cut back on it, still give it a little bit of attention, but not have to be like all day, every day. Like, this is my job, Right. Because like right now, like that's what I get up in the morning, and I've been on my computer since it's 8:35 at night, and I've been on my computer since like 10:30 this morning. So
wow.
So for 10 hours, I've been on my computer, and so
there's those huge YouTubers out there like PewDiePie and Casey Neistat. I mean, these guys are in like the stratosphere as far as earnings, right?
Yeah.
Like what's like an estimate of like what those types of individuals are bringing in? Just from YouTube.
Just from
obviously,
YouTube? It's 10 million probably. Just from AdSense? Oh, probably 10 million, maybe a little more. They're making more money. Yeah, they're making more money from ads though, or brand deals. So
that's unreal.
Yeah, like the brand deals that they get are insane. Like they can make like $20,000 for like one video with a brand deal.
That's nuts.
Or more. Like some people have been paid like 100,000, 500,000 for one video.
Wow.
But it's because of the amount of reach that their videos have and everything. And so, but that's like the thing too, is a lot of people, when you don't have money, you think life is all about money.
Right.
But the thing is so those guys, right? You could be like, oh, you have all the money in the world. You could just quit making videos. But if that's what they enjoy.
Right.
If they stop making videos and then they go play with their money, but all day they want to make a video, like they're not going to be happy. And so I don't think like a lot of people put a lot of stress on the money, but I think it comes down to anything in life is you don't want to, a lot of these big YouTubers, they're not doing it strictly because of the fact of like, well, they have enough money now they can quit. It's like, well, they probably, even if they weren't the largest YouTuber, even if they weren't making, $300,000 a year or $1 million a year, they would probably still be making videos.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to like get into the social media aspect of, well, I want to create a podcast, or I want to create a YouTube channel, or whatever, Instagram, because I saw somebody else make $1 million a year off of it. And you're like, yeah, but that's not really like, I mean, how many episodes are you in? Like 20 episodes on the ... podcast?
Maybe 15, getting close
15?
to 20. But like the thing,
how much money
I think
are you making off this? Enough to sustain yourself?
not even a single penny. Not a single penny has been made, because I don't even try to. I don't monetize my stuff.
And that is the thing with it is, like, you've already put 15, but you don't have companies rushing to you to like sponsor this either, right?
Thank God. Yeah, no.
And so it's like, but people think like, well, I'm going to create a podcast, and then they expect like the next day to be making like $4,000 a month to sustain themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, so actually my biggest advice for people is like, if you want to start a podcast, keep working your full-time job, and once a week or twice a week, get home after work. Don't go out and do anything. Don't play video games. Work on your podcast. Do that for a year straight, because after a year, you're going to have 15, 20, 30 episodes, and you'll actually have a legitimate thing built. And then maybe you'll start to be able to make a little bit of money from it, and then you can start to pull back from your job. But a lot of people think, well, if I just go full time on it, I can make it work. And it doesn't really work like that, because for one, building an audience is very hard. Like, people have to trust you, and people don't trust people when they have one video on their channel.
Yeah.
Like, I have 500 videos about the Air Force on my channel. If you don't want to trust me, you're probably wrong.
Right.
Because, like, I have the most informational videos on the Air Force than any channel on the internet. Like, probably a good chance that what I've said in my videos is true.
Yep.
And it's like my thumbs up ratings and all that are like 90-some%. So it's like, it's not like all my videos are like 10% thumbs ups,
there's credibility in it.
Yeah. And so that's like, people don't understand that like credibility goes a long way in social media. You can't just create an Instagram page and post one photo and expect to have 1,000 followers.
Social media is an interesting thing in the sense that there are people on platforms making money, or they're there just to make money. And then there's other people out there that don't care either way. Like this, like me doing a podcast is, I have, like I've said it a couple times in different episodes, but anybody that's never listened, I do this because I have this weird little creative bug in my mind that has to be doing something at all times.
Yeah.
I used to play in bands, and so writing songs and recording was my thing. And then obviously I don't play music anymore. And then, and so I needed something, and
I would always try to inject your creative juices into something.
Yeah. Like I quit playing, I quit playing in bands, and then I started like recording at home on my own. Like writing songs myself, and then life got busy and I got bored, and I have to have some project going. And then oddly enough, that's when my wife and I started doing our YouTube channel. Was when we moved to Japan. Like Lacey was like, why don't you like start making videos? That way we could post them online, and our family back home could still see what's going on with the kids. Or we could, even if and actually I think we decided on YouTube because it was easier than emailing,
talking to everybody all the time.
But more than anything, like making a video and then sending like that large file to people. It was a place that you could put it that everybody could go to it and see it. You didn't have to be like, oh, I didn't mail it to so-and-so. I didn't mail it to so-and-so. Oh, just let everybody know it's at this one place that they can go grab it.
Yep.
And we did it, and it was such good therapy for me because I needed to be creating something. Like I have an artistic side of it. And then I came here, and there's nothing to film.
Well, and that's why I said earlier about the money part is people would be like, PewDiePie, why is he still making videos? Probably because he enjoys it. It's like, he has to be doing something, and that's what he wants to be doing. Right. And so it wasn't like you weren't trying to create a YouTube channel to be rich. You were just trying to be like, well, what's the easiest way to keep in touch with family without spending like all hours of the day talking to my family? You know, it's like kind of like me with the job interviews is like, how can I shoot 120 interviews in the next 6 months without me flying all over the country?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you mean I can do this same thing, but in less time? It's like, definitely, because that's one of the hardest things is I feel like as more and more things are created and technology grows more, our time is getting spread thinner and thinner and thinner because we have so many options now.
Right.
And so it's like, how do we balance all that?
It's definitely tricky. So you keep mentioning this this new project you're getting ready to work on. So you're going to have, I guess your idea is to get like the better majority of the jobs in the Air Force to help share like first person perspectives on what those jobs are like, so people can, explain the idea behind what you're getting ready to do.
So I want to do every single enlisted job at least for the Air Force that I can get my hands on. Create an interview style where I create a video that helps people shoot the interview. Like they set up the camera themselves. I'm not there with them. I show them what it needs to look like. They press record. They play my video in the background, and they just pause it after every question. They answer the question, and then after that, they send it to me. So, the goal is to have a catalog of every single job in the Air Force. And that way, when people are joining, people can actually see a real airman, not airforce.com, not some recruiter. It's a legitimate person in that career field that has literally nothing to gain from that person joining that career field.
Yep.
It's just somebody that wants to help somebody else understand what they're about to get themselves into. And
that's awesome.
So that's like my goal with that is to not try to convince people to join. It's simply to just kind of give people an understanding of what a job really is, because airforce.com doesn't really explain things in detail. It's just like, for instance, like security forces or something is like one of the most common jobs that like people can get because it's everywhere. You need to have them 24 hours. So that job, there's like 50 different jobs within security forces.
Oh, yeah.
There are
Big
jobs
time.
I did not even know about. And since I've been reaching out to people have been getting back to me saying like, oh, I'm a 3PO, like I'm security forces and I'm this. I'm security forces and I'm this. And I'm like, I don't even know what those things are. But I'm like, that's crazy that one job actually has like 12 different jobs. So, like right here on my list, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 people 11 people that have reached out to me with security forces alone. And we're looking at like somebody is a confinement NCO. Yeah. I don't even know what that is, like confinement training. And so, he had barely explained it to me. It's basically when somebody gets in like major trouble with the Air Force and they're like arrested and they're like being watched, like like court-martialed. Like that's like what he's in charge of. And I was like, that's great. But that's like his full-time job. He doesn't go patrol the base. He literally is just in charge of like people going to court hearings.
Right.
And then somebody else works at the visitor center, like so they don't go out and patrol. Somebody else is missile security. Somebody else is a security forces trainer. Somebody else is a dog handler. And that's all in one career field, but they all show up and do totally different things. But when you read the Air Force website, it's going to give you like a very brief description, and there's no way you can even understand what you're about to get yourself into based off of that. And so my goal is to kind of let people talk for 5 to 10 minutes about their job and what they do in their day-to-day, and kind of help people understand that what you do in the Air Force isn't going to be this cookie-cutter thing that the Air Force website says. Like, your day-to-day could be totally different than what that description says. And that's what I kind of want to help people understand is not only like what their life might be like, but also like the amount of options that they'll have in the Air Force if they join. Because you might think when you join a career field, you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do this. But then in reality, you could do 6 different things.
Yeah. No, I mean, my first job, both my jobs, I've been in 2 different career fields now. They both had aspects of it that I just had no idea about, like just based on reading the job description and talking to people, I thought that it was one thing, and it turns out to be, a whole other different slew of skills and experiences that you get just because, you branch out, there's this base, like I'm already doing a way different job at this base than I did at my last base. It's just very, very different.
But it's the same job.
What's that? Yeah, but it's the same job. Right. And, I'm involved in different things that I didn't have the opportunity at my last base and vice versa and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think you're doing a really good thing. How long is this whole project going to take you think? Sounds like a big undertaking.
Yeah, so that's why I have an editor right now, and like thankfully I have like 2 other backup editors that can do like a little bit for me if I like need to throw work at them.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of me sitting down next week. Sitting down, I'm gonna get my whole like video format, layout, all of that stuff shot, edited, uploaded as a private video, so I can send it to people, and then hopefully just start reaching out to as many people as possible that have already responded and saying they're willing. And as I get videos, I just start pumping them out. And so the goal is like, hopefully, I mean, it shouldn't take long, because if I can get people like a video being like, all right, hey, like if you have a camera or your phone, sit down and you could shoot the video this weekend if you're free. It'll take people 15, 30 minutes. So the goal is like everybody I reach out to should be able to do it within a week or two. So like long term, my goal is to hopefully be able to do every single enlisted job in the Air Force in the next 6 months.
Oh, wow.
That's my goal.
Right.
So basically I want to like flood the internet because like my goal is I want to get all that stuff out of the way, because then I can literally move past informational stuff and start making like other content, maybe more entertainment based or stuff like that. Because I'll be like, I've already put out as much information as I can think of for the moment. So like, I'm just going to start having fun now.
Yeah. No more questions are coming
I enjoy helping people, but like, I also am like, I want to test myself creatively in a different way as well. And so, and a lot of people like comedy skits and stuff like that. So I kind of want to like get into that a little bit, and then also like maybe covering other topics that are military related, or doing like separation stuff, like veteran stuff. Like once you're out, what are all the opportunities? So yeah, that's why I'm like pushing for like the next 6 months to hopefully be able to do every single job, because then I can be like, okay, I did as much as I can think of now. So now let me move on to being a veteran and what it's like getting out, and then start to handle all that information. So,
because I mean, dude, the vet piece is it's something that's a huge community. You get people I think the shortest, who's got the shortest possible contract? Is it the Army for like 3 years or something like that?
Yeah, or like I think they even did like a 2-year contract for a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get people that come in or they join the Guard or something like that, or the reserves, and but they have that that base knowledge of the military that they've served, that it's done them some time, and then they have to get out and learn what life without that is. And I used to work with a guy, and like I said, I asked him, I was like, what's the hardest part about the military? And he said it was getting out. He's like, because he did 20 years, and he's like, for 20 years I had, I had order and structure in my life, and now I have to pick out what I'm going to wear today.
And he goes, I love that. I love being able to pick out what I want. For him,
it was like suffocating.
Yeah, and well, I can see that for 20 years because you get so used to it too.
Right.
For me, I was in for 6, and so I missed the freedom of waking up and being like, whatever, I'm gonna look like whatever I want today,
Yeah.
And so like I haven't shaved my beard since I got out, so my beard's like 6 inches long, and it's like
crazy,
ridiculous, and my hair's long, and I'm going to keep growing it out the rest of the year, but I missed being able to just wake up and be like, my hair looks like crap today. Oh, whatever, Yeah. And like some days I take care of myself, but some days I just want to be lazy and hang out. And in the military, I couldn't do it. I had to do my hair every day. I had to shave every day. I had to put on the same uniform. I had to wear it the same way. And
well, I've noticed with myself, I think I've realized that like it was a big surprise to me that, that I ended up taking to this lifestyle as much as I did, because I was very rebellious growing up. I was the one that came home with his ears pierced at 12 years old and made his mom irate, and came home the day I turned 18 with a tattoo, and made his mom irate, and I always kind of went a little bit
the band, and then
yeah, and then like toured the country, and and I smoked cigarettes, and I didn't make the best decisions. I was kind of a disappointment in that regard.
Didn't you and Lacey both smoke, but you guys gave it up?
Yeah. We both quit.
When you guys had Presley?
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
God. Smoking's disgusting.
You guys are awesome. That's it. I love hearing stuff like that where like people give it up because like they just realize some other things are more important in their life. And
yeah,
I'm proud of
definitely.
you guys.
It's inspirational. I appreciate that. It's but like I realized, I guess I like the institutionalized aspect of the military in the sense that like even my civilian clothes, I kind of purchase a uniform. Like I find a pair of shorts that I really like, and I'm like, I like these. I need 2 more pair, and I'll be set for life.
That's kind of how I am.
This T-shirt is just the perfect T-shirt. I'm gonna go and order 5 more. You know,
Yep.
like
I don't have the Black Label tees by Hanes.
Yeah,
They're just like regular T-shirts.
Yep.
They're like $10 or like $8.
Yep.
I have like 4 of them. They're solid color. I have like black. I have blue, gray. Actually, I think that's all I have is black, blue, and gray.
Yeah.
And then that's all I wear. But like for me, I'm like if it gets dirty, I'm like whatever. I'm gonna still wear it because I'm like it's a shirt. It's gonna get dirty. And
Right.
so like for me, it's like I kind of do the same thing. But I like having the freedom of like if it gets like dirty, I'm just like. Not like dirty as in like, oh, I have pizza on it.
Yeah.
And but it's like if I get like oil or grease on it and like you wash it and it's still a stain, I'm like, whatever. Like I'm going to wear it today and go get dirty again. So
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it is interesting. You know, the military is it's such a diverse group. It like you said, it is for some and it isn't for others. And what are your thoughts like on like mandatory service? Like, you know, I think the Israelis have like a minimum 2 or 3 years that
2 years.
Everybody has to do.
Unless
like, do you think that?
I think it's unless you're being a religious, you're going to school for religion, or unless you're going to school for being a doctor. Those are your only 2 ways out.
Really?
So, but I don't think the United States should have something that strict. But I would not be opposed to it being like promoted more that people do 2 or 4 years.
Right.
I think one of the things that scares a lot of people is that they require like they push so hard for 6-year enlistments, and like to some people that's scary. And so
think about the officers that go to the academy, man. Those guys at age 18 are saying, I'll go to your school for 4 years, and then I'll sign an active duty service commitment for 6 years after that.
Yeah.
Like they just gave up 10 years.
Yep.
Like that's a big thing to do, to walk into something that you don't know about. So all the more reason, you know, the types of videos that you make, it's helping people really, really make a firm decision so they have a better idea of what they're walking into. Obviously, I'll never forget my first day of basic training or anything like that, or getting to Lackland. All the research I did in the world, all my friends that I talked to that had been through basic couldn't tell me enough to prepare me for what it felt like in the moment. Yeah. And it wasn't like I felt like I was in danger or anything like that. It was just very different and very real, that nobody can tell you exactly what to expect. But if they can kind of paint, I mean, because there were people at that time in my career, and there's people that I see now that are like, this is not at all what I ever hoped it would be. Yep. And you're like, okay,
I was
like, is it bad?
And that's why I chose to get out.
Yeah, people are like, is it bad? I didn't say it was bad. I just said it's very different than what I would have ever expected it to be. Yeah. So I think people nowadays just want a little bit more of a glimpse of what things are actually going to be, because those tools are there. That the Disney commercial that advertises that it's only the happiest place on earth, that it exists still. But there's also a whole new slew of people out there that can give you firsthand accounts, and that's what people really want, I think.
You'd be a liar to say you never go on Amazon and read a review before you purchase an item.
Exactly.
Like you want to know what you're getting before you. I'm going to buy this for $300. Like, let me see if it's worth it. You know, and it's the same. Oh, I'm signing a contract for 6 years. Let me see if it's worth it. And so, I think that's like the best part is it's the same thing as like an Amazon review. That's kind of what my channel is. It's the Amazon reviews of the Air Force. You know, I just am giving you a firsthand account of what my experience was, and there's not much other competition for the Air Force other than the other military branches, but like a product on Amazon, you know, you're debating between ordering from 5 different companies, but it's all the same product. You just want to know you're getting the best one. So there's not 5 different Air Forces. So it's like, basically it just comes down to, do I want to join the Air Force or not? Not which Air Force do I want to join? Right. So, Yeah, I think the review system on it is super important.
Right. It's, it's also about managing expectations, I think is the best way to say it. Like, I feel like managing your expectations is a sign of maturity. And
some of my favorite Amazon reviews are
yeah.
people that are like, this picture frame is too big. It looked smaller in the picture. It'll say like 24 by 36 inches.
Yeah.
It'll literally say that in the title. And then somebody would be like, yeah, this is bigger. It looked like it was like a foot by 6 inches in the picture. And I'm like, did you not read the description of what you're ordering? Like, they just look at a picture and order it. And I'm like, and then you gave it a 1-star review because it wasn't the right size and you didn't even order the right size.
Right.
And so to me, it's just like, that's why I read some of the reviews, because you can see and be like, okay, well, obviously that's not legit.
Right.
Like that's somebody is either dumb when they ordered or they're making a fake review. So that's what I like about like my YouTube channel is it can be fact checked with other people too. But that's why I always back myself up and say like, if you join, like your experience isn't going to be the same.
Right.
But I love bad reviews on Amazon that are legit. Like somebody being like, hey, like when you get this, it's actually, like the color is like shiny, not matte black. And it's like, oh, in the picture it looked matte, but it didn't say what the finish was on it, like in the description. So the way they took the picture made it look matte black, but then like it's really shiny. And so you're like, oh, okay. But they're like, overall, still good picture frame. And it's like, okay, like now if I order it, I'm not going to be disappointed when it comes in shiny because I'm aware of it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I think it's just about managing expectations for sure,
Yeah.
And I think the being able to do research helps that,
And I didn't know that's why I started making videos. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Nobody was making videos when I joined.
Right.
And I was already making videos. So I was like, why don't I just make videos of the questions I already have that nobody's answered? Because if I have that question, somebody will.
Now there's kind of a network of it, right? There's
like hundreds of military YouTubers now. It's crazy.
Right. And you kind of have like your equivalent for every branch and everybody. Do you guys kind of help each other out and like refer each other to each other's channels? Like, hey, yeah, if you're curious in the Marine Corps, go check out my buddy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And a lot of us will talk about each other in like videos or something, or be like, yeah, like something. But if you're in the Navy, it'd be totally different. Like JT talked about that. Or like if you're in or like Nikki MGTV, those are two military or Navy YouTubers. And so, yeah, we definitely like, I don't think there's been like some like people don't like other people here or there, but I think overall, like over time, I think a lot of like the bigger military YouTubers have all matured and like kind of get along now and don't really have any problems. And I was like the lead one, like I was like the first one of like all the military YouTubers that have over 100,000. I was the first one. I was the first one as far as time on YouTube goes. I was the first one as far as when I started posting about Air Force or military information, and I was the first one to hit 100,000 subscribers. And so, like, people kind of, like, look up to me. So when people have problems with each other, I pretty much get along with all the military YouTubers. So, like, I kind of, like, try to diffuse stuff a little bit, too. Because, like, for me, I'm like, the whole point is to help people, guys. Like, we're not trying to create enemies with each other. We're trying to help people. Like, that's the goal. So,
right.
Yeah, so like people kind of look up to me because I can kind of like diffuse situations in a way if somebody tries to bring up drama or something, and yeah.
That's the downside is you get the keyboard warriors out there. It's they get the courage to fight a fight because they have anonymity on their side, and that's the side of what you do that I could never do.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is I've had a lot of stuff said to me in person.
Yeah.
But if you were to rate a scale of like the worst things I've ever been told to the best things, like the best things being a 1 and the worst being 100, like super severe, like terrible is 100. By far, like the worst thing I've ever had said to me in person would probably be like a 30. But there's been like some comments that were like 100 online.
Yeah.
But nobody would ever in their right mind ever say that to my face.
Right.
Ever. And so like that's kind of like something you have to take with a grain of salt when you're online is people will say things that they would never ever say in person. They would never verbally speak it out loud.
Yeah.
But they feel comfortable typing it onto the computer because nobody is looking them in the eyes to do it. And so Yeah, it's definitely hard to like. Sometimes you just got to swallow it and just move on, but sometimes you kind of give a little jab back. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah. That's my downfall. I'd be like, you SOB, like I'd unload on them and it'd be like that.
I try not to, but sometimes it just like irks me because I'm like, dude, I spend my whole life trying to help people. Like, what is your deal?
Yeah. So, well, your intentions, and everybody else out there, they don't know them, and that's unfortunate, because anybody that's listening, I'll go ahead and vouch for the fact that Kyle is a genuine guy. Absolutely. He's not selling any fake product or anything that he doesn't believe in. What you see is what you get, and he's very real.
The only product that I do sell is an ebook it's called The Secret to Building Wealth in the Military. It's like a 45-page book. I sell it for $30, but that's the only thing I sell right now. But I literally went through and reviewed it the other day because I was like, I posted it like as soon as I got out of the Air Force because I had been writing it for a few months, and then I just went and reviewed it like last week. Because I was like, man, I haven't gone back and review it, and like I want to make sure that like I'm not leading you. And I was like reading it. I'm like, dude, this is a great book. I was like, I was excited to read it, and I was like, dude, I don't feel like I'm like gypping anybody out of money with this. Like, because to me, I'm like, dude, I wish I had this freaking book when I joined. Yeah. Like as I was reading it, and I'm like, oh, it makes me so mad, like that I didn't have that guidance or anything. So I'm like, I do sell that, and like some people will be like, it's $30, but I'm like, dude, I explained how you can save. Like, I explained to you how you can have $400,000 by the time you're 65 in your TSP, and that's if you do 6 years. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to set you up. Like you're paying $30 so you can have a retirement, even if you do 6 years. Right. And so, like, because I break down like how the retirement fund works in the Air Force and how to maximize it. How
it's
to
not
use
like you're asking
BAH.
For. You're not asking for residuals or anything.
No. I'm like, dude, all I care, like, because even in that book, I was like, dude, the biggest thing I want from this is just like when you guys are 65 and I'm old and crusty is for you guys to tell me thank you. Like, that's all I want. It's just for you to be like, thank you for helping me set my family up. Right. Because I didn't invest in the Air Force retirement system. Like, I didn't invest in that until I was 3.5 years in. Right. I hate myself for that. Like, it is the dumbest, especially now. Like, you're at a point where it doesn't make sense to go into the new retirement system. The new airmen joining have the sweetest deal of any company they could ever work for in their entire life. Yeah. With the retirement system. The new BRS that they have is insane.
I agree completely.
If you join and put 5% of your base pay in your whole first 6 years, you will have $400,000 when you're 65 just for working 6 years. Yep. And I'm like, that is genius. Why would you not want that? Yep. There are people that work 20 years and still don't even have that type of retirement in other jobs. Right. So I was like, and then that gives you time. If you get out at 6 years, you join to 18, you're 24 years old. You can take that skill, go and get another job, make more money, and save even more for another retirement.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you still get a pension at the age of 44 if you do 20 years with another company that does a 20-year pension. And then it's like, you're super set up at that point. And I was like, to me, I'm just like, dude, the new retirement system. I was like, when reading my book, I was like, I freaking love like the fact that this is a thing. Right. Like, it makes me mad that it wasn't a thing when I first joined. Because I'm like, dude, it's a smoking hot deal for people joining.
It really is. I think that, the whole military service thing in general is personally, it's done me well. I think even you, even though you decided to get out, I think you definitely gained some skills that, and,
100%.
You gained skills, you gained life experience, all that kind of stuff. Whereas,
I would not be the person I am. I would not be where I am today. I have zero regrets of joining the military at all. Right. Like, it was the best thing I could have done with my life. Yeah. Hands down. If I had to go back, I would redo it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why people might be like, well, you're out. Why are you still trying to promote it? Like, or even like, wait, why are you talking bad about it? But then you're not like, you're going to talk good about it. And it's like, because my goal is actually like, I want it to be the best that it can be. Because for me, it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Did I enjoy it? No, not enough to do 20 years. Right. But did I enjoy it enough that if I could go back and relive my life, would I do it again? Oh, in a heartbeat.
You did it. You enjoyed it enough to stay the course for what you committed to.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that opportunity.
And do it well. Yeah.
it wasn't. I didn't want to do 20 years, but I'm definitely thankful for it, and that's why I want to help people. And I talked to a recruiter the other day actually about some stuff because he had called me, and I was saying to him, I was like, dude, the thing for me is I'm not trying to get people to join the Air Force. I'm trying to get people to understand, is the Air Force for them or not?
Right.
Because my thing is, I was sick of seeing people that I worked with that didn't care. And it's like, dude, I want people, they need to take pride in their job. I don't want people just joining that are like, well, it's not what I expected, so I'm just going to ride it out. It's like, no. Like, I want you to be passionate about doing your job. Like, for me, I was passionate about working hard. I did not want to be in anymore, but I can't show up to work and not work hard.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would work my hardest. Like, I worked my butt off. And even my supervisor, like, the NCO of my section, he literally would tell me, he's like, I don't do anything because you take care of everything. He's like, you make my job so easy.
Yeah.
But that was, like, my goal is, like, I take pride in what I do. And so I ran everything.
Right.
And I wanted to make my job as smooth as possible. So I did everything. I organized everything. I made everything work together, and everybody worked together. And we took care. Like, even I had a guy that he's brand new to our section that we hang out with now, but he got here after I got out. And he was saying that my section, he's like, yeah, it's okay now, but it's not what it used to be last year. And that was when I was running it with my other supervisor. And it's, like, good to hear that because, like, people now are looking back like, dude, we had it nice when they were here.
Right.
And it's like, I worked hard. I tried. But, you know, like, not everybody tries as hard as I did. And so that's something that I want to, like, help is bring people in that will work hard, because I don't want people that work hard to join and then get, you know, frustrated. I want people that work hard to stay in. That's my goal, because if you can have a force of, if our military is full of people that want to work hard every day, all day,
they're qualified and they care.
Everyone will have a better life.
Yep.
But you have a lot of people that are lazy, and that's what drags down the work life situation of, like, it being poor, is because a lot of people just don't care. But if everyone cared and everyone was looking out for each other's interests, it would be the best work environment ever. And so I truly believe that the military can be way better. Like, there's always room for improvement, but, like, I think there's things that can just be easily fixed if we change it from the bottom up. Is people joining need to be 100% committed, and they need to know the truth about what they're joining. So when they join, they don't get let down and start to give up.
Yeah.
Like, that will happen regardless, but it's like the goal is to try to minimize the people that join and then are let down and quit. Mm-hmm. Not quit as in get out, but quit as in they just stop trying hard at work.
Right.
And so my goal is, like, if you do 6 years, I want people that are going to work hard for 6 years. If you do 20 years, I want people that are going to work hard. I don't want people that join for 6 years and only work hard for the first 2 and then stop. Because what good are you when you're the most qualified, but your last 4 years you're not working hard?
Exactly.
Like, if you're qualified but not working hard, I would take a qualified worker that works hard over a non-qualified worker that works hard.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're a brand new airman, it's good that you're working hard, but that's not when you're useful. You're useful when you know your job well and you work hard.
Right.
But a lot of people join, and in the first 2 years they get let down, and then they don't want to work hard. And so that's, like, my overall goal is. That's why I still make content about the Air Force, is because I truly want it to be better, and I want other people to have the best experience possible and to utilize, like, if they realize the military is not for them, how to still work hard and then set themselves up on the outside so once they get out, they're still taken care of.
Yeah. Well, dude, you're definitely on it. I mean, you're, like I said before, you know, you are the real deal. You're definitely very motivated. You're not just out there trying to create clickbait so that people will help drive your, you know, your profits through the roof.
Everybody thinks clickbait is like the best thing to do. If you're still listening to this podcast by now, I commend you for listening to all this. But like, people want to make viral content, and my problem with that is that is not sustainable, and you're not really helping solve a problem. You're not helping anyone. And so it might be good in the moment because you're like, wow, look, all these people paid attention to me. But if you don't keep doing it, people won't care about you next month.
Yeah, they forget about you tomorrow. You're no longer relevant.
If you sit there and you spend time helping people, those people will forever be grateful. Even if they don't need your help 5 years from now, they'll still be able to look back and be like, man, I appreciate what he did. Right. And so that's, like, my thing is why I've never, like you said, I don't focus on clickbait. And that's because I've always like if I wanted to treat this like a long-term thing, I need to help as many people as possible. I can't focus on trying to just make the funniest video in the world that will get forgotten about next week.
Right.
Because that doesn't actually do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
And so like my goal is to actually bring like clarity and comfort to people's lives. And that is something where when I run into people a year from now, they're not just like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. It's like, hey, like you helped me. I appreciate that. Like I'm not trying to be cool. I'm trying to just get a thank you basically I just want their life to be better. And I mean, you can do that with entertainment content, but it doesn't, I don't feel like have the long-term effect where people feel like it actually like helped set them up on the right course.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So
yeah, absolutely. Well, where can everybody? We'll probably spend 20 minutes covering this real quick. But where can everybody find you? Obviously you could probably just Google Kyle Gott.
Yes, if you Google my name, I will be everywhere.
Right.
I've been online for 12 years now, so it's kind of hard to not find me if you Google me. You'll find probably even some stuff that I don't know about. But there's gonna be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I primarily focus on Twitter and YouTube.
Okay.
Barely am on Facebook. And then Instagram, I need to start working a little more on. I think now that I'm out, I've found more of a desire to want to like play around with Instagram a little more versus when I was in, I was like, I primarily focused on informational content and I was working an overtime job. So I got stretched pretty thin. Right. So some platforms had to give at that point. So, but yeah, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram are like the primary ones. And then my wife and I also, and all that stuff is just Kyle Gott YouTube or just Kyle Gott. And then my wife and I have YouTube channel, Got Love. So that's like our GOTTLOVE. That's our YouTube channel together. If you're interested in recovering from infidelity and stuff like that, we have Got Love Speaks, which is actually a separate channel that we've been running for a while, but we never like did anything. It was like our live stream channel.
Okay. But
we actually are like going to focus more on like answering questions that people had about like infidelity and like how to like overcome that and work through that. So kind of just like living our life and our situations and seeing how can we help people not experience like pain and hurt like we have. So that is another channel that we have. And then on social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter, Got Love, or McKenna Gott if you want to see her. That's my wife. So MakennaGott. Search her. And then I have a website as well that has a bunch of blogs and information about getting ready for the Air Force. So
and then your book as well.
Yeah, and then my book is just The Secret to Building Wealth in the Military.
And where can people find that?
It's actually on Amazon, or you can go to my website. I have it on there as well.
Okay. Well, awesome, dude. Obviously you're everywhere. So if anybody's listening that doesn't know about Kyle, go check him out for sure. It's definitely an inspiration as far as how to lead by your heart. Follow your passion. And so hit him up, contact him on there, see what he's got going on. It's all good stuff. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's fun jumping on. I haven't talked to you in like years, so
yeah, it was just awesome good. If nothing else, it was just good to catch up. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time, man.
Definitely appreciate it.